Hello. Okay, next tutorial. This time I did an exposed brain makeup. This makeup is also part of my 30-minute FX series where I tried to get an entire FX makeup done within 30 minutes or less. This makeup ended up taking about 35 minutes, although I didn't time putting the ball cap on, so I do apologise for that. It's probably closer to about 45 minutes, but it's still quite a simple and quick makeup to do. So, if you'd like to learn how to do this makeup, stay tuned. So, before we get started, I thought I would explain to you all how I plan to achieve this overall effect of the exposed brain. So, to start off with, obviously we're going to need a brain. So to make my brain, I did something incredibly simple. All I did was, I went to the shops, which I believe I got this at a pound store, so super cheap. I got a jelly brain mould. Yeah. And to use the mould, all I did was go to a food store, buy packs of gelatin, which is the kind of thing you use in desserts, mixed it together, and I poured it inside the mould, up to about, I want to say, ½ an inch of the bottom of the mould. Then I just kept rotating it all around the edge up to about here, basically where it stops curving, so that I can apply it to my head and it'll just go with my own natural curves of my head. The idea is to keep turning it until it sets, and it's not too thick, it's nice and evenly distributed, but the ends obviously need to be a little bit thinner than usual. Once that's dry, I took some talcum powder, powdered everything, peeled it off really slowly, and we're left with this jelly brain top. And of course, I don't really want to stick this gelatin brain to my hair. That would be weird. Nobody wants a hairy brain. So before I apply my brain, I'm going to pop on a plain latex bald cap. So to save some time up in this video, I'm going to pop my bald cap on off camera. So I'll pop a link up there. That link will take you to a video that I did previous to this to teach you how to pop on a bald cap, just in case you don't know, to save some time up in this video. So I'm going to go pop on my bald cap and we'll go from there. Okie dokie, so that's my bald cap popped on. I decided not to blend the edges just yet because when I pop on the brain, I'm probably going to blend around that. So I'm going to save that step till later. So to stick my brain down, I am going to be using some Prostick just because I've been using that to stick my cap down. You can, to be honest, use anything. You could use liquid latex, you could use spirit gum. Any skin-safe adhesive would be fine. So I'm going to apply my Prostick to the underside of the brain, position it onto my bald cap and my head and let that dry. So once my gelatin brain is all nicely stuck down, I can take some liquid latex on a sponge and I can apply that to the edges of my fake brain and the edges of my bald cap. So usually I would use witch hazel to blend off gelatin, but because I'm going to be building up quite a harsh edge around here anyway, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to take my latex, go around the edges for about 3 coats, letting it dry in between. So then I can work on building up a ridge so it looks like the brain is exposed through the skin. So I'm going to be taking some cotton wool and working in really, really small amounts, not much bigger than that. I'm going to take some more liquid latex on a sponge and work in a small area at a time, saturate that area, push the cotton wool into the latex and then apply some more latex on top of that. The idea is to go around the entire edge of the brain, not the bald cap. So then, once you've built up enough layers, we can start peeling it back as if it's revealing the brain through the skin. Lovely. So I'm just going to lightly rub at the edges until I can grab a fold of latex and then go all the way around the gelatin brain and lift them up as I go along, only by about a centimetre or so. And we just want to work all the way around really slowly, trying our best not to tear it. And as I go, I'm taking a large fluffy brush that's got some talcum powder on it and I'm just dusting away at the latex so it doesn't stick to itself. Okay, so we're just going to do that all the way around the edge of the brain. So when it's all peeled back, it should look something like this. So then I'm going to take some more Prostick, again you can use spirit gum or any other skin safe adhesive for this, and a cotton bud. I'm just going to apply that randomly underneath some of the folds so that I can take them and then peel them back and then stick them down. And I'm just going to do that all the way along the edge of the fake brain. Okay, so it just makes this really nice illusion that skin has been completely lifted back just to expose the brain underneath. So then we can work on colouring the latex so that it matches the skin tone. For this step, it doesn't really matter too much how much it matches your own skin colour because you're going to be covering that area in a fair amount of fake blood anyway at the end, so you haven't got to worry too much about this. So I'm going to be using 2 watercolours by Superstar. One is in ivory and one is in peach. Obviously these are for my skin colour. You could use some foundations, but I have found that certain foundations and concealers do make the latex degrade, so you end up with a really rough texture, so it might be best to use watercolours if you can. can. So I'm just going to apply that to my ball cap going all the way around my head, and I'm going to stagger the colour by about 1 centimetre or 2 going across the ball cap line onto my face just so it blends off into my skin. Okay, so it doesn't need to be perfect, so then we can colour in the actual brain itself. So I'm going to be using a Superstar Red watercolour just to colour the entire brain and the flaps of skin around the brain. That sounds so lovely to say. I'm then going to take a Kryolan Bruise wheel, which is a really nice wheel of various shades of creams, and I'm going to take the dark blue, almost black shade from that wheel, and I'm going to apply that randomly to some of the more hollow points of the brain. It doesn't have to be blended out too much because there's going to be quite a lot of fake blood on top of that. I just want to make sure the blood doesn't lose any of the deep textures that are in there. I'm also going to go along the fold of the brain just to make it look like it's extra deep. So there we are, it just really helps add a bit more depth. So I'll continue colouring the brain in a little bit, but for now I want to work on the eye area. Now this isn't something that you have to do, it's just something I like to do whenever I do I was going to say a trauma makeup, but this is kind of a bit bigger than a trauma makeup, but you get what I mean. I like to darken under the eyes and make them a bit more bruised. Otherwise it looks a little bit too unrealistic and clean, if that makes sense. I'm going to take my Kryolan Bruise wheel once again, and I'm going to be using the dark blue from that palette, and I'm going to score underneath my eyes and on top of my eyelids and blend that colour out, making sure there's a relatively harsh edge just at the start of where your eye bags would start. It just helps make them look a little bit more puffy. Then I'm going to take the red, almost burgundy colour from that palette and then go over the areas where I went with the black, but then blend it out further. And then finally, I can take the really off yellow colour from that palette and I can apply it to the edges where the cheekbones start and also to the brow bone, and then just blend that away. Okay, so nothing too overboard, it just helps add to the whole effect. So then it's time for the super fun part, the bit I think I know you've all been waiting for, and that is the fake blood. So I'm going to be using my favourite fake blood for this. This is Superstar's Stage Blood, and I'm going to apply that in small areas around the brain so that I can then stipple the colour over the entire brain so it has a nice shine, and so that pockets of fake blood get caught in the fake lobes of the brain. I can then take a small amount of the fake blood and then just brush that onto the fake folds of skin. So then I can move on to the blood trickling down the face. So I'm going to do this by taking quite a large amount of the fake blood and I'm just going to hold it in one area and let that fake blood trickle down naturally. So I'm just going to do that completely randomly, going around the edge of the fake brain, making sure it's not symmetrical. It's better for this to look asymmetrical, to be honest. Okay, nice and bloody. It's really important not to go too overkill with, that's a good word for this, overkill with the blood, because otherwise it will detract from the work you've done. So then, all that's left for me to do really is apply a little bit more fake blood to the brain on top to make it a little bit more shiny. You can use lip gloss for that, I have found that works quite well in the past. And after that, I do believe the look will be complete. And there we go, that's my look, officially complete. So I finished my makeup off, as I said, by applying a little bit more fake blood to my fake brain. I also went over my lips with the yellow cream that I used around the eyes, just to make them look a little bit more sickly. I did also then apply some of the dark black to the middle area, again, just to make it look a little bit less healthy. I did also apply some fake blood to my shirt to make it look a little bit less clean. I was going to pop in some contact lenses, but I thought it might detract from the, main feature of this makeup, so I hope it's okay that I didn't. And yeah, so that's my makeup tutorial complete. I really hope you all enjoyed it. In the end, it ended up taking me 35 minutes and 25 seconds to do this makeup, so hopefully it's okay that I still included it in the 30 minutes effects series. To be honest though, I didn't start my timer until I applied my ball cap, so you might have to add about 5 to 10 minutes on top of that. I hope that's okay. It's still quite a simple and quick makeup to do, so I hope it looks okay. So yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like it, please make sure to the usual, like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. And yeah, so until next time, bye fluffies!